He said, could you come over and run over and say a few things? And I said, absolutely, I will. And they gave me the lowest seat I've ever sat in. I think, they set that. They do that on purpose. I don't think it was Chris that did it. I'm just trying to compare them. Chris wouldn't do that, but it happens. It's really an honor to be with you, tremendous people, and it's a really important subject, so I wanted to be here. I'll say a few words, and then I'll head out, and you'll handle it, and it's something you're very familiar with. But the people in the room are real doers, real amazing. It's an amazing group. We're here today to continue the incredible progress we're making in communities nationwide to ensure that as new data centers go up, and they're going up all over, electricity bills for American families will actually come down. You're going to be building your own data centers, and you're going to building your own electric plants. You're essentially becoming a utility like Con Edison in New York, but maybe at a level that nobody's ever seen before, because we've seen some of the plants that they're building are absolutely incredible. They're absolutely incredible. They're electric plants, electric manufacturing plants. It's hard to believe, but you need double the electricity that we have right now, maybe even more than that, to really fulfill what you want to do. We're leading China by a lot. And using our old grid would not have worked. And I came up with the idea that, build your own plant. This way nobody can complain. You won't call me and say what a terrible job I'm doing, because we have a 200-year-old grid that's not the best in the world. You look at some places, you take a look at California, you have brownouts and blackouts every weekend. The last thing they're going to be able to do is supply electric at numbers. Nobody's ever explained to me why it's so much electricity, why you need so much, nor did I care that much, to be honest with you. All I know is you need more than double what we produce right now. Think of it. So we produce tremendous amounts of electricity for every business, and this industry needs more than double that amount. So we're letting you build your own with the Trump administration's Ratepayer Protection Plan. The American innovators and consumers thrive to win together because we're insisting that AI data centers and big tech companies pay their own way, and that's what they're doing, and they're happy to do it because this way they're going to be able to function and function brilliantly. They're going to have a lot of electricity left over, and they'll put that into the grid. So we'll actually end up with more electricity. The rates are going to go down. As president, I've always said that America's goal must be to dominate the future, and that includes being the #1 superpower in artificial intelligence. So important. And this is, I think, bigger than frankly, I think it's bigger than the internet. It's bigger than anything anyone's seen thus far. Maybe someday there'll be something bigger than this, probably will. But I think up until this point, AI is probably the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. And whoever wins that race is probably going to win, period. And again, we're leading China, and we want to keep it that way. President Xi's coming over on September 24th, and we talked about it when I was over in Beijing, and we'll be talking about it again. But he was very impressed with the job we've done, because ordinarily, they don't have any problem with electric. They build a lot of electric. They don't do environmental impact statements. They just say, you want electric? We'll build it. They don't use too many windmills. They make the windmills, but they don't use them. They do it the old-fashioned way in many ways. The United States never settles for second, and we don't under this administration. I can tell you that. You see that because we have the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. We live by the motto, America First. That's what's made us very strong, and we're leading China and all other countries by a lot in AI and just about every other category, including crypto. We want to stay in front in crypto. They'd love to take that over. So many other things they'd like to take over. They're highly competitive, if you haven't noticed. But thanks in part to this incredible technology boom, investments are pouring into the United States from all over the world. $19.2 trillion, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. So think of it, $19.2 trillion in 12 months. Okay? And the previous administration had less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I would say that's an improvement. Do I get credit for it? No. But no credit. Think of that. It's a 19.2 in 12 months versus less than 1 in 4 years. It's hard to believe, right? But that's the way it is. No credit, but we just keep chugging along. But as I say, I get no credit for anything, and then I look around the Oval Office. I said, oh, but we're in the Oval Office. So I guess we do get credit. But less than 2 years ago, our country was dead. And I've had this said by so many leaders. They use the expression a little bit different sometimes, said differently, but meaning the same thing. They say, sir, less than 2 years ago, your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we are the hottest in the world. At the same time, we know that the data centers and AI are dramatically increasing the demand for electricity. It's only fair that the cost of building the new infrastructure required to meet this demand should be borne by the corporations themselves, not by the American consumers and the American patriots, American citizens. And I think everybody agrees to it. And actually, they really don't have a choice because there's no way of producing that kind of electricity, the kind you need, and they want to do it themselves. And honestly, they're coming up with some plans that are genius, just like they are. That's why earlier this year I introduced the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. Under this groundbreaking plan, America's largest tech companies have formally committed to fund or build all energy infrastructure required to meet the demand they are placing on the grid. So they're going to be funding all of those electric needs, and we're giving them the right to build their own power plants. Lee Zeldin is here. He's phenomenal, and he's getting it done quickly. And thank you. Stand up. Stand up. He is phenomenal. He's incredible. He's an MVP candidate, I will tell you. He is doing things at levels, and by the way, everything perfectly. He's totally into the environment, but he's getting things done in 2, 3, 4 weeks that used to take years and years. And people are getting their approvals, and they're building buildings. We're building more buildings now, plants, and all sorts of manufacturing capability that we've never done anywhere near it many, many times. And companies are pouring in. Toyota, the other day, as you know, announced that they're moving into our country from Mexico. They're going to be, I think, closing up a lot of their operation, maybe all of it in Mexico. They're moving to this country. We have we have more car plants being built now in the United States than at any time in history. And, you know, we went years before me. We went many years with no car plant being built. I mean, they wouldn't even think about building in this country. Now, we're the hot. Same thing with chips. We'll have about 50% by the time this term is over. We're going to have probably 50% of the chip market. A year ago, when we began, we had no chip market. We had virtually none other than Intel. We had Intel. And we made a purchase of 10% of Intel. We got it for the right price. And we made approximately $72 billion on that deal. So it was good. Do I get credit for that one? No. I get no credit. None. But we did that, and we made a lot of great deals, I'll tell you. We keep it going, too. But Intel's been fantastic, one of the hottest companies anywhere in the country. And when we met them, they were really having very big difficulty. We worked with them. But the stock price has gone up many times. I think it's maybe the hottest or one of the hottest anywhere in the world. So that was an honor to do it. I love looking good. But we made a lot of money. We made, I guess, over $72 billion on that profit. They've also agreed to invest heavily in local communities where data centers are built, supporting job training and local services. They're really spending a tremendous amount of money. In other words, they're the governors in the room. You have great governors in this room. And these companies are spending tremendous amounts of money on the communities, the local communities. So I think it's important that we tell the local communities that, because other nations are trying to get us to slow down, and they're spending a lot of money on propaganda, on press, PR, trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all negative stuff. You have communities that really want the data centers. And frankly, those are the smart communities, because it means tremendous numbers of jobs. very little actual disruption. And the ones that don't want it, you know, the happiest people in the world are foreign countries, number one, and number two, other communities within our country, because they're begging for them to be there. And some of them are great communities, very, very forward-looking communities, very smart communities. Since I introduced this plan just a few months ago, more than 220 utilities, tech companies, state governments, and other partners have signed our Ratepayer Protection Pledge. Electricity rates for 80% of the power distributed in America are now being kept in check by the plan. We have kept rates down, way down. You know, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of America from the Biden administration. And as you know, last week it was announced that inflation is way down. It's down more than it's been in over 6 years. And other things are happening that are so fantastic. And when all these buildings, plants, factories that we're talking about start opening up, all I know is I'd like to be the next president, because I'm going to make somebody look very good. They're going to sit there and all this stuff is going to be opening and they're going to be saying what a genius they are. That happened with Biden. I got cuts in medicine prices that statutorily took 2 or 3 years. And I got these tremendous cuts, and then they sat there and said, oh, yeah. They didn't even know where they came from. But I got them, and this is going to be a much bigger example. You have all these plants that are going to be opening up over the next 2 years, sooner, but 2 years. And somebody's going to look very, very smart, and I hope you remember me, because what we've done is something that nobody thought was possible. For example, Southern companies, Georgia Power has frozen base rates for households until 2029. Is anybody here from Georgia Power? There's a certain governor who's here. A certain governor who's here. Congratulations. Good job. That's a great job. I've heard about it. Congratulations to both, and it's fantastic. And Georgia, the revenue from Google's data center construction is allowing them to eliminate property taxes entirely. And that's what you call using it to your advantage. The numbers are so incredible. Nobody's ever seen. You know, all my life, the biggest building in the whole world was the Pentagon. And you can fit 25 Pentagons into some of these buildings, 25. And if you happen to be a community, and there's very little disruption. They're just large. They go on for miles. And frankly, if you like certain types of things, they're incredible to look at, to see that we could do something like this. But they also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. And when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that, revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? That's not bad, right? So thank you very much. Great job. That's a great job. And you probably had some negative stuff, a little heat. Oh, we don't want a data center. Usually those are the people that actually want them, and they'd like you not to build them. Because you know what? If it doesn't go to you, and if it doesn't go to Georgia, as an example, it's going to go someplace else. And those people are very happy to get them, too, the smart people. American Electric Power now projects that their customers will enjoy as much as $16 billion in cost offsets for consumers thanks to their data center contracts. $16 billion. So think of that. That's cost offsets. In Iowa, Alliant Energy data center deals. Where are you, Alliant? Alliant, where are you? Are you here? Thank you. Data center deals are allowing them to freeze electric rates for consumers for at least 5 years. So your rates are going to stay the same or lower. In Louisiana, there's a guy looks like he's from Louisiana to me. Public school teachers in so think of that, Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in less than half. That's big stuff, Mr. Governor, right? You didn't have any doubt about it. Here's a governor doing a great job. We have some really great governors in this room. With the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, we're creating a fair deal for everybody. This is how we'll grow our economy, lower the cost of living, protect American consumers, and lead the world in AI and high tech, all at the same time. We want to lead the world. And it is said, if you come in second, you're going to be second overall, because there's never been anything big like this. There's never been any, like in Georgia, there's no other thing you can do to create numbers like you've created, Brian. Both of you, there's no other thing. You can do 100 different deals, 100. It is nothing close to what you've been able to do. And why? They put a big, gorgeous new plant in a certain location. Big deal. It's so incredibly positive. Unfortunately, there are some who would like to lead us down the opposite path. And I call them the radical left communists. They call them socialists, but these people are communists, actually more. I think it's a much more accurate term. Want to shut down all new development, kill our most successful industries, destroy hundreds of thousands of jobs, and surrender the AI race to China. And China, look, you know, I'm not blaming them. I have a lot of respect for them. I have a lot of respect for President Xi, but they represent China. We represent the United States of America. And they lobby against these things, and they spend money on it, and they want communities to reject them as much as possible because they'd like to be leading the race. But we're leading the race, and unless we're very foolish and, frankly, very stupid, we'll continue to lead the race. We have a nice lead. A lot of people didn't expect that was possible. Perhaps even worse, the radical left's plans would not lower your electricity bills, but they would actually increase them very substantially because you wouldn't have all of this money pouring in. You'd have American energy would be far more expensive, and regulating oil, natural gas, and clean, beautiful coal. It would be the end of all of it. It would be the end of all of it. It would be the end of, frankly, it would be the end of great success for our country, because we've never had anything like what's happening right now. I call them the Democrats because their policies are so bad. Look, think of it. No men. We want no men in women's sports. Transgender, they want transgender for everybody. I call it transgender mutilization of your children for everybody. Open borders where the world can pour in, where prisons from all over the world are released into our country. And we've done a hell of a job in getting them out. Murderers, 11,888 murderers let into our country under the previous administration. We've gotten a lot of them out. We're getting the rest of them out fast. But the Democrats in Congress want less energy, not more. And if given the chance, they'd send your prices soaring and inflation skyrocketing, which is exactly what would happen if you had somebody else sitting in the position that I am right now. And just like we did with the Green New Scam, where we were scammed. The whole country was, I wasn't scammed. I got it right from the beginning. I got it from the first minute when I heard this crap, you know. They were saying wind was so wonderful, except you couldn't watch your television. They wanted to watch the debate. Donald Trump against Sleepy Joe Biden. Nobody could watch it because the wind wasn't blowing. Remember that? Darling, we'd like to watch the debate tonight. I'm sorry, the wind isn't blowing. No, that's one of the great scams of all time, but, you know. If you dislike another country, let them keep building windmills. They are going down. People are finally figuring it out. But we're not going to let it happen to this country. We're going to use the kind of things that work, and they're working better than anybody ever thought possible. So experts have observed that the amount of energy a society produces is the single greatest indicator of its advancement as a civilization, its success as a country. Think of it when you think the amount of energy produced, Lee. So when you give those fast approvals, that's a positive thing. I want you to feel good. Yet instead of offering a positive version and vision for carrying American civilization to new heights, the radical left only wants to limit our energy consumption and rein in our American dreams. We have the American dream. Until we came along, we had a great first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country, and this economy will blow it away. We're doing very well against the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're doing extremely well. They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. They need more of the same. They're not ready yet. They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. If we did all this that I'm talking about your data centers, isn't that important? When they start blowing away communities, one by one. We cannot let them ever even think about having a nuclear weapon, and that's exactly what's happening. They'll never have a nuclear weapon. Under the And by the way, this should have been done by other. They've been saying 47 years now for about 3 years, but this should have been done for 50 years by other American presidents or other countries. Didn't have to be us, but it seems to. If we don't do it, nobody else is. But I will, and nobody else has the capability to do it either. We built, in my first term, the greatest military anywhere in the world, and we're using it a little more than I thought, but that's all right. We had Venezuela, that Chris is doing a fantastic job, and we've paid for the cost of that war many times over. We're taking millions and millions of barrels of oil, and it's going to Houston and Louisiana. You know that. You see those ships lined up. And again, we paid for that many, many times over, and we have a great relationship with Venezuela. And the people are happy in Venezuela right now. They can't believe what's happened. We have the biggest companies, the biggest oil companies in the world going in and doing business like nobody ever thought possible. And we're taking some, we should, and they're taking some. And, you know, it's very interesting that they're making more money. Chris was showing me some numbers. They're making more money, Venezuela now, than they've ever made before. And we're making a lot, too. And I think we're entitled to that. So it was really something. We took that. It was a one-day war. It took one day. People said, oh, we're going to be tied up there forever. And here, you know, we were in Vietnam for 20 years, lost thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives, but thousands and thousands of lives. We were in Afghanistan for years. We were in all these wars that you heard about for years and years. We were, you know, I called them never-ending wars. Well, we're in for 4 months, and I had a very sad day yesterday. I went to Dover. 4 great American patriots killed. That's 18 in 2 wars, and 1 is too many, but it's 18, whereas in Vietnam we lost 200,000. We lost thousands and thousands in Afghanistan. We lost thousands in every war, the Korean War, thousands, and these wars all lasted for years. And we want to get it over with, and we want to do it right, but we have to do what we came to do, and that's we can't let these people, very violent people, we can't let them have what they want, which is nuclear weapons. It came from, all of this success came from innovation and ambition and drive. In this country, we build the future fearlessly and confidently so that America always will be strong, prosperous, and dominant. And the other thing we're going to add to that, we want to be free, and we're going to continue to be free as long as we're smart. And we can't be hoodwinked. We can't be taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home, you're going to get free rent, everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything is going to end up in squalor, destruction, and death, and also death for our country. So we have to stop the threat of the communist rhetoric that you're hearing right now, because these people, they don't act. I'm very happy a poll came out. It said they're highly educated, but doing very poorly. In other words, they're losers. They went to school, they got a good education, now they don't know what they're doing, so what they do is they complain about people like yourselves that have done so well. But we can't let the communist ideology we don't want to even think about it for this country. It would be terrible. So we're joined today by some of the people helping to do all of the things that I just talked about, putting the Ratepayer Protection Pledge into action. And here with us are Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, who's an outstanding person. Doug Burgum told me about Chris. I didn't know Chris. I wanted Doug to head up energy, and Doug said, no, there's one man that's better. Who? Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is that? Turned out to be this guy right over here. And he's turned out to be incredible, really incredible. He's running Venezuela. He's running a lot of, more than anybody has ever run before, I think we can say, Chris, right? He's doing a great job, so we appreciate it. Thank you. A friend of mine, the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, popular guy, really smart, street smart and book smart, which is a rare combination, by the way. We have the governor of Nebraska, Jim Pillen, who's done a fantastic job. He's where's Jim? Is there any someplace? Where are you? Oh, hello, Jim. You're looking good. You don't change much? Thank you. You don't change much. How's Nebraska doing? Good? Do they still like Trump in Nebraska? I think so, huh? We had a very good night 2 nights ago in a place called Arizona. We're 14 out of 14, and we're doing that kind of numbers in Nebraska. I think we're doing those numbers everywhere, and it's all based on common sense. You know, we're conservative, we're this, we're that, whatever you are. The most important thing is we're people of common sense. We want to have strong borders. We want to have good education. We want to have low taxes. We want to have a great military. We're people of common sense, and if you do that, you'll be very successful at politics. Governor of Idaho, Brad Little, thank you very much, Brad. Governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, thank you, Brian. Great honor. Entergy CEO, Drew Marsh. Drew, thank you very much, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Great job you're doing. Southern Company CEO, Chris Womack. Chris, hi, there he is again. Chris, I didn't know that was your name. I just saw you. I said, that's a smart guy because you did that big job making people in Georgia rich, right? That's Meta President Dina Powell, who's been my friend. She was with me for 4 years in the White House. And I called up Mark. I said, you hired the right person. You got the right person. So great, Dina. We're proud of you. Columbia County Commission Chairman Doug Duncan. Doug, thank you, Doug. Congratulations. Job well done. And Sheldon Jones of Louisiana's Richland Parish School District. And thank you very much. Good job. You know him, don't you? Huh? Thank you. I heard you're doing fantastically well. And again, Lee Zeldin, who's been so outstanding. So, thank you. So I want to just want to leave you by saying that it's an honor to be here. I'm going over now to talk about various and sundry subjects. One is the Iran war, where, again, we're doing very well, very, very well. I would say better than anybody expected could be done. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force, all of their radar, most of their capability in terms of manufacturing. Their drones are down 84%. Their missiles are down 91%. And I had a newspaper say, they're in stronger position today than they were 4 months ago. No, that's not the truth. That's not right. I can't believe they're even allowed to say it. New York Times said, they're in stronger position today. They have no military. They have no Navy. They had 159 ships. Everyone's at the bottom of the sea. They had 212 airplanes. Everyone is gone. They have no radar. They have no anti-aircraft. They have no nothing other than they're mean and they're smart and they still have some capability. But 4 months ago, trust me, they were much, much stronger, okay? I want to give you the non-fake news. But we're going to do that, and we're going to then have the Dodgers, the World Championship Dodgers are going to be over at the White House. They're going to be waiting. And I'll meet a man who's just about the best pitcher in baseball and just about the best hitter in baseball and just about the best fielder in the outfield in baseball. And needless to say, I guess he had a game where he pitched a almost perfect game, and he had 2 or 3 home runs in that game, and they said it was probably, I said, you know, never seen that. Only Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher, and he was a great hitter. But even the Babe didn't throw a one-hitter and hit 3 home runs, which would make it, I would imagine, about the greatest game ever played. So we're going to meet him and all of the people of the Dodgers that won the World Championship. And we see the champions, the Super Bowl champions, and baseball and basketball all up. We're probably on the other side of things. They disagree, but I don't know how they can disagree. Your community and your state's going to become rich, and there's very little disruption. And again, if you don't take all that money, somebody else is going to take it. You might as well do it yourself. So it's an honor to be with you, and maybe I'll let Chris and Lee and the group and Jeff and Brian, everybody just take over, have a good free-for-all, and figure it out. And if you have any problems, I'll come right back and I'll straighten those problems out, okay? Thank you. Great job. Thank you.
President Trump there making some news live from the EPA headquarters in Washington.
So I was wondering how he was going to do it. As I look at the clock, it's 3 o'clock right now. So he came in, made his speech here, excuse me, and now he's leaving here and heading back to the Oval Office, where he's going to be talking or meeting the Los Angeles Dodgers. And when he's in the Oval Office, after he meets the baseball team and all the ceremonial stuff, then you're going to see the press ask a whole bunch of questions. So that was a short one, only here for half an hour. I've been busy. SB's been busy, so this gives us a little bit of time to get ready for 4:30. So we'll do that show. Now, I just want to say something. I don't want to come off as condescending or anything like that, but SB sent me a text, and this text is very exemplary of how I think a lot of people who are naysayers are thinking. Let me read this text, and it says, "Your property value tanks from being near a data center. You too can complain. When your quality of life tanks too, you can complain. It affects us firsthand. We live here." And so the only thing I wanted to ask is, where's here? Where is it that all of a sudden your property values have dropped? Because it gives some context. Let us look, let us verify what you're saying. Give us the area where the data center is, and I would gladly, because having been in real estate for quite some time, I can tell you specifically if the property values have indeed dropped. I think we've got to put a harness around this stuff, not to be condescending, not to belittle anybody, but to rein in the propaganda and call people out on this stuff. Well, the property values suck, and this is, everything's happening. All right, tell me your address, or maybe tell me this. Tell me the address of the data center. Tell me the zip code of the data center, and I can find the value of every single house in that area. In fact, you can probably figure out the exact. So SB said, she goes, loud humming and vibrating noise from the diesel generators. Wait a second. Wait. If they're diesel generators, they're not producing the electricity that President Trump is talking about. So it's not a completed data center. It must be under construction. But you say Salem Township, Pennsylvania, and I will endeavor, once we get off camera, I will look at the property values all around that data center. And I want to see specifically that people say their property values have declined. Because then I'm going to have to look and go, when was this data center constructed? So you're telling me since they broke ground, your property values have dropped. It doesn't work that way. Property values are based upon supply and demand. Property values are based upon availability and prospects. So I'm going to look into Salem Township, and if not tonight, tomorrow, I'm going to tell you, here's a data center. I'll pull it up on Google Maps. You'll see it, and I'll show all the properties around it. Because I think we have to begin, especially since this is an initiative that President Trump is absolutely pushing for, call people out when you're talking crap. If it ends up being correct, then let's look at that and say, yep, it's happening. But I venture to say right now, there is nobody's property values that are dropping. There's nobody's quality of life that is dropping right now. We got to pull back. We got to stop being the crazy people on the block saying crazy things. There's enough people out there that are doing it. I'm pretty sure that there's different podcasters out there that'll welcome the crazy talk, but they don't do any verification. Me personally, yeah, I'm biased. I love AI. I love what it's done for me personally. I love what I can do with AI. I am continuing to learn more and more and more. And yes, I live in Boca. There's not likely going to be any data centers around here. We all live in gated communities, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. So, but see, the difference is I'm willing to go look. I'm willing to look into this and see what this phenomenon of suddenly drastic property values dropping. Maybe, perhaps, no, I won't say it because then people get mad. Like, huh, might be some deals there. Think about that. If people are looking to bail on their property because they think the data center is going to drop the value, as President Trump has said, once these things are completed, it's the opposite, and money's coming into a community. So that could be a definite opportunity. But we will see. I won't just tell you you're crazy until I verify it, and I can see that it is indeed the data centers that are causing the change of life. Well, wait, why don't you just tell me? Hold on, what do you got? Wait, that's you this time. Did I cut you off? Or yeah, it was you.
I'm here. No.
Yeah, you
Am I
were.
good?
You had
Okay.
it mute. You
Okay.
this time you muted
Oh,
your
damn it,
mic.
man. I have too many buttons, man. So anyway, so a user just posted, these data centers are still being constructed and they're buying up farmlands to build these. I do not like data centers. These are control centers instead.
What's a control
Mind
center?
control. They're going to be snooping on you. Come on, people. Get the tinfoil off your heads.
You know what's funny? Maybe somebody should define data. Maybe people don't understand what's
Fair
happening.
share in data?
my
Define fair
God.
share in data.
Again, I don't want to belittle people. I just think people are buying into the crap.
There's a lot of fear.
And when you say stuff like control center, like, I don't even know what the hell that means.
It means surveillance. They think that Big Brother's going to be like snooping. I mean, right now, folks, if you go down the street, cameras are everywhere. You don't think people are seeing you right now? You know?
The only way, I don't even know if this would work, is if you disconnect, pull the plug on everything, and go pitch a tent out in the Poconos. That's about it. But between the satellites and the heat cameras that they have, you'd have to live. Huh?
Better yet, why don't they move to Iran? They don't have any of that stuff. We're blowing them in all the hell in a handbasket.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, folks. Do more research. I mean, I get the concern, like if something's going to come up near your home, but like the one lady said, the diesel generators, they don't run data centers on diesel. Also, too, Elon's going to be putting a lot of stuff up in space where the sun shines 24/7. So you're not going to have the humming and the noise. Okay.
That was a dead giveaway for me. As soon as I read what she wrote, I'm like, diesel generators. That's not a data center. That's somebody. That may be that they may be fueling something to dig with, but it's not the data center itself. That's just probably construction generator.
Okay. Maybe you can answer this. She just wrote, define what Azure government is owned by Microsoft. It is secret locations of data clouds for the government. I mean, I'm about ready to snap this one here. There's too much tinfoil on this head.
Today's my anniversary. I'm not going to get negative.
Wait. Hold on. I'll do it. USA. That's all. Yes. Gary, did you get the thing? Did you get the thing, right? You got it all set up?
If you're right now, as you're watching me and SV talk, if you're on a phone or if you're on a computer or you're on a laptop, or where else would you be? A tablet. I hate to break it to you, but you're already being tracked. I don't want to be the bearer of
everything. Unless you could hide it with VPN and stuff, but you're definitely being tracked. There's cookies and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people understand it. You plug something in or you download something, or you do this. You click something and there's somewhere that's going to have that information. All right. Yeah. Where you got? What do you got?
I have a bunch of stuff. I mean, varied topics. Some of them are a couple hours old because they were from your previous show. Let's see. Well, okay. So the White House story that is cut, I believe. Let me look at my list. That is some good news for the economy. That would be cut number. Okay. All right. So the White House posted that U.S. initial jobless claims fall to the lowest level since 1969. I haven't heard about any of this on CNN, MSN Now, any of the, you know, this is a good story, right? Prosperity. People are getting back to work.
I don't know how well you are with math, but that's almost 60 years. I mean, that's a long time.
It is
And
that.
wow, they don't want to talk about that. Nope, no,
No,
crazy. No.
no.
All right. Well, that's a good one.
Yes, and then cut. Let's see. Cut number 7, the Mandami story. That's a good one. So
okay, let's hear this. What do we
so
got here?
he just got sued. His draconian rent freeze might now be blocked. Communism never works. We believe it will be found to be illegal. This was a sham process to deliver a predetermined outcome that the mayor directed by fiat. That is blatantly illegal. Get the third world communists out of my country. So it's not definite, but they are suing him for this.
Well, the problem with it though is that they might end up finding a commie type judge that's gonna go along with it, because
you mean Bo Asperger?
Yeah, somebody like him. Hey, let me go ahead and download the video, because while I was eating lunch, I actually heard this guy talk on TV.
Oh, good.
And it's pretty interesting. It's not too overly legal, but I think it explains a little bit from their perspective of what's going on. Hold on a second.
Fighting back, a coalition of landlords has filed a lawsuit looking to overturn the city's newly approved 2-year rent freeze on roughly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. They argue that Mayor Zohran Mamdani improperly influenced the Rent Guidelines Board to deliver on a campaign promise. Let's bring in now Randy Mastro, attorney for the landlords suing Mayor Mamdani. Welcome to you, sir. Good to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
So what's the case the landlords are making?
Well, it's a simple proposition. An independent board, statutorily required to weigh all the evidence and fairly consider the data, instead perverted the process at the mayor's behest to deliver on his campaign promise. This was a sham process to deliver a predetermined outcome that the mayor directed by fiat. That is blatantly illegal, and the ramifications of it are profound. More than 1 million New Yorkers live in rent-stabilized apartments. That's thousands of landlords, many of them struggling to survive because we are living in a period of inflation rising, the costs of landlords soaring, taxes, utilities, insurance. Yet somehow this board, under the mayor's influence, came to the conclusion that 0 rent increase was warranted. Not supported by the data. Board did not properly consider the statutory criteria, and we believe it will be found to be illegal. And don't just take my word for it. A longtime board member quit the morning of the vote.
You know, I've owned a lot of rental property. I would not even think about buying rental property or being a landlord in any blue area at this point. Just wouldn't do it. Just don't even want to give these people the opportunity to step in and say, you know what, your tenant doesn't have to pay rent and you can't evict them, and you're going to just have to deal with it, because unless you're going to tell the bank that they can't foreclose because the tenants didn't pay the mortgage, no, it's crazy. And then they say this stupid, idiotic thing. Well, maybe you shouldn't be in that business if you can't afford. The business is getting the income from the tenant. That is actually the business. I'm like, what do you nobody is buying rental property just to have a vacant, empty building. The entire business model is based upon putting tenants in it that are going to pay you. The Democrats
it's such a simple concept. Yeah, right.
The Democrats don't believe it. They think housing is a human right. Human right.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Then don't give them any housing. Let them all live in tents on the street. Does that sound cold? I don't care. You're finding right now that the whole aspect of contracts don't mean anything. And if we get to the point where you don't have to pay your student loans, even though you signed a contract, and you don't have to pay your rent, even though you signed a contract, they're basically putting people in a position where you can't trust anybody. And so you're going to find people that you can trust.
Yeah.
That's
No, I
insane.
mean, you're 100% right. Supply and demand, and then you got to be fiscally responsible. It's like that video you showed yesterday. She
Yeah.
wanted that $2,000 a month. She wanted that mansion with the pool and the backyard. And when they actually went down to reality, it was like a little tent.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. Can I get it for 150? No, no, no. And by
Yeah.
the way, she wasn't making 2,000. She goes, sometimes I make $2,000 a month. Well,
Okay. So
sometimes
that
they
could be
go,
close to $1 a month, maybe. I don't
oh
know.
my God. Yeah. Like you said, she twerking and it was a bad night twerking. She didn't get the $2,000 a month. Oh
Oh
God.
boy. The Allie Bradley story, the last
Wow.
cut. That
This is a long one. What is
Yeah,
this?
I'm going to use some of I'm going to state some of the words like Hispanic, right? So this goes into the Avengers stuff, right? This is a lot of that kind of working into this story. So anyway, U.S. Treasury announces its largest sanctions action ever targeting the Cartel de Jalisco Nuevo Generacion, hitting more than 50 individuals and entities tied to the cartel's leadership, drug trafficking operations, money laundering networks, and front companies across Mexico. Among those sanctioned is Juan Carlos Gonzalez Pelon, identified by Treasury as CGNG's new leader following the death of founder Ruben Asquiera Cervantes El Mencho during a Mexican government operation
Wait,
earlier
hold on a
this year.
second. Why do they always have nicknames?
Because they're hiding
I
out,
just learned
Barry.
that. Hey, what's
They're
your name?
hiding.
Oh, my name is Ruben. No, I'm El Mencho.
Well, it has a little bit more weight to it when it says, "What's going to happen to you? El Mencho is going to get you."
El Mencho's coming for you. Okay.
Yes, I'd be like, "Okay, I'm good. I'm a." Anyway, during a Mexican government operation earlier this year, Pilon is also facing a U.S. federal drug trafficking indictment, and the State Department is offering up to a $5 million reward for information leading to his arrest or conviction. Treasury says today's action targets the cartel's financial lifelines, including companies allegedly used to launder drug proceeds, support fentanyl trafficking, fuel theft, cocaine smuggling, and other criminal operations.
Wow.
Wow, that's a mouthful there. There's the
Wow.
Avengers. Scott Besant, I always love when he's in these stories. He's saying President Trump has made clear that terrorist cartels will be dismantled. Today's action strikes Cartel de Jalisco Nuevo Generacion's leadership, financiers, and criminal networks, denying the cartel the resources it uses to traffic fentanyl, terrorize communities, and threaten American lives. According to Treasury, this is a part of a broader campaign that has now included nearly 30 actions against roughly 250 individuals and entities linked to cartel operations since the administration intensified its focus on designated foreign terrorist organizations. Look at that, the food chart there.
That's crazy.
They all look like upstanding citizens, huh?
You know what's weird is that for some reason the Biden administration never went after any of these people.
No.
And that should tell a thinking person, if it goes back to Democrats, all this stuff we're seeing is going to come right back. They're gonna go right back to doing all the crime and everything else.
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second. So they were funding getting all the drugs in, but they were also bringing in the illegals, which are the voters for the left,
Yeah.
right? So it was a win-win for them. They got in their drugs, they got the illegals, and then, it just cemented their business. So I'm sure they're very upset that a lot of that's been curtailed or even cut off. And I know Mexico is going to be the next, splinter in Trump's fingernails, because the president, what's her name? She's every time I see her on a video, she looks like a hostage. We will do what we have to do. She does not look like she's the president.
But it's funny, as you're reading that, right? You're reading off all these different very heavy Spanish names, and for some reason her name is Shine Bomb.
You see how young Pelon looks? I mean, I think he's in his 20s. I think we talked about him the other day.
Yeah.
He's a youngster.
Well, I got one more story for you before we go. This is Jamie Raskin talking to Allison from Lindell TV. I just love how she gets these people. Listen to this.
Congressman, I asked you yesterday about the documents that the president declassified, the 280,000 aliens that are registered to vote in the country. You said you didn't have time to look at it. I'm wondering if you have since looked at it and are at all concerned.
I've not seen those documents.
Are you concerned about the fact that aliens...
I'm glad that New Jersey caught it, and I'm glad that every state is doing their best to guarantee that we have an honest election, as opposed to the kind of election Donald Trump wanted when he called up the Secretary of State of Georgia and said, just find me 11,780 votes. So, yeah, we're not interested in a corrupt election. We want a real election where everybody who is registered to vote has the opportunity to vote if they are, in fact, an authentic voter. And I'm glad New Jersey's doing the right thing.
Democrats always said...
The President of the United States and his cabinet have nothing to do with the administration of elections. They should go and actually do their jobs, which means taking care that the laws passed by Congress are faithfully executed. And we haven't passed any laws telling them to get involved in elections. The states are doing a fine job, as Trump's own Homeland Security staff on elections said back in 2020. This was the safest, most secure election in American history. So the people who are really involved in it, who are administering the elections, know things are in good shape, and everything else is just political posturing and intimidation against the election workers. And we saw what they did back in 2020, but we're not going to allow them to try to steal this election again.
Was 2020 actually safe if aliens were actually voting? I mean, 400 aliens have been documented to vote in New Jersey. That takes away the votes of American citizens, right? So will you finally admit, Congressman, that illegals do vote in American elections?
No, they do not vote. It's illegal, and I'm glad that the people of New Jersey are on top of it. But we'll talk when we get back from recess. Have a wonderful recess, all right?
You as well, Congressman. Thank you very much.
She's got that down pat with the look
Yes.
afterwards. Yeah,
I love it.
They don't vote except when you catch them. That's it. That's when you find out they voted. We just found out the 6,000. Oh no, they don't vote. No problem here. Nothing to see here. It's crazy. All right, so we're gonna get ready for the
show coming up.
The third show, which I'm pretty sure is going to be a longer one because we're going to do some different things and go back to a normal platform. So at 4:30, actually, why don't we? 4:30 will come on. President Trump's going to be meeting with the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series champion. The person he was talking about was Shohei Ohtani. You know who Shohei is?
No, I don't.
All right, so Shohei Ohtani is a switch-hitting pitcher, Japanese player, and he's phenomenal. I don't know if he won the MVP this year, but he hit like 30 or 40 home runs. He throws the ball 100 miles an hour. He's a phenomenal pitcher, but never seen anything. That's why when President Trump was talking about Babe Ruth, everybody knew Babe Ruth was a pitcher, and this guy's much better than Babe Ruth. Will he have a 25-year career?
Very talented. Wow.
But he's incredible. That and the fact that he makes a whole bunch of money too. So, but you'll see. And watch how Shohei, who can't, at least I don't know about last year, he couldn't speak a lick of English. He always has his translator with him, but he loves Trump. So we shall see.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good.
Let me
see
do
you in an hour.
Yeah. I know there was what somebody said he's not a switch hitter. I thought he was a switch hitter. Somebody said he's not a switch hitter. I know he hits from, I watched him. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to check. You might want to check that. Maybe I could be wrong. I do know he can really hit. That's for sure. Any event, let me go ahead and do, I think there was a super chat that I really had to acknowledge here. I saw it come in, but I was live at the time. And then we'll get back to a normal schedule. Yeah, there it is. Thank you from Tyler Jackson. Thank you very much. My favorite channel. Thank you very, very much. And then there's another one here from, if I can get this one to, oh, there it is. And it shrunk all the way to the bottom. And this is from Gritza. Barry, you are such a good man, dedicated patriot to us, the MAGA movement, President Trump, and this country. Thank you very much. Thank you. I just wanted to say, this is probably SB again. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure. He's not a switch hitter. Okay. I just wanted to say that the whole AI thing, does it bother me that people are uncomfortable? Yeah, but I'm not looking to convince people. See, that's the one thing that I think is always going to be a problem. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm here to promote stuff that President Trump is promoting. I'm here to tell you I use it constantly. And I encourage people to go ahead and try it and learn. It's like everything else, whether it's silver, gold, or buying and selling stocks, looking at real estate, whatever it is, instead of just turning your nose up at it, really dig in and see if it's for you. And then if it is, fine. If it isn't, that's fine too. But you can't stop it. You're not going to stop where things are headed. That's the problem I think a lot of people don't realize is you can protest all you want. There's no putting this genie back in the bottle. It's here to stay. And it's only going to get more and more and more a part of our everyday lives. Everything. I mean, just since you've been watching this show, just in our little world of podcasting and YouTube, I've watched people go from animating pictures to basically putting together full-scale movies with not a single actor or anybody involved. And so it's moving very fast. Yeah, you can choose not to be a part of it, but you can't stop it. You can't stop it. So might as well get used to it. Like when people kind of got used to, I don't know, the Model T Ford, fax machines, and then fax machines went away. And then albums turned into CDs and then MP3 files. Things happen. You can't stop it. You can go back. I know I got a friend of mine who loves vinyl records, but he can't stop the MP3s. Just saying. Technology, whether it's a curse or whether it's good, cannot be stopped. All right, see you guys at 4:30. We'll see you in an hour. Oops, that's not it. Why do I keep hitting the wrong button?
What is this X?